Tashma Chila Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Gosvāmī Mahārāja Śrīla Gurudev Ki Jai. Nitila Pravishtam Vishnupad Ashtatarasha Tashma Chila Bhakti Vedanta Vaman Gosvāmī Mahārāja Ki Jai. Nitila Pravishtam Vishnupad Ashtatarasha Tashma Chila Bhakti Vedanta Swami Mahārāja Śrīla Prabhupada Ki Jai. Nitila Pravishtam Vishnupad Ashtatarasha Tashma Chila Bhakti Vigyan Keshav Gosvāmī Mahārāja Ki Jai. Nitila Pravishtam Vishnupad Ashtatarasha Tashma Śrīla Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Gosvāmī Prabhupada Ki Jai. Nitila Pravishta Mahābhagavat Śrīla Bhaksharas Babaji Mahārāja Ki Jai. Nitila Pravishta Śrīla Satchidananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur Ki Jai. Nitila Pravishta Vaishnav Sarvabhauma Das Babaji Mahārāja Ki Jai. Shri Rupanu Gauriya Guru Varga Ki Jai. Shri Rupa Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath Shri Jeev Gopal Patadash Raghunath Shara Gosvāmī Prabhu Ki Jai. Shri Sarup Damodar Rai Ramanandari Shri Gaur Parshad Vrinda Ki Jai. Namacharya Śrīla Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Kshetra Mandala Gaura Mandala Braja Mandala Mathura Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Sarva Abhishta Pradata Giriraj Maharaj Ki Jai. Shri Radha Kunda Shama Kunda Ki Jai. Shri Muna Devi Ganga Devi Ki Jai. Shri Tulsi Maharani Vrinda Devi Ki Jai. Shri Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Shri Purnamasi Yoga Maya Ki Jai. Shri Gopeshwar Mahadev Ki Jai. Shri Mohini Akarashi Titi Ki Jai. Akarashi Titi Palankari Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai. Nitila Pravishtam Vishnupad Ashtatarashatashmad Śrīla Bhakti Pramoda Purī Gosvāmī Mahārāja Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Samagata Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Dandavat Pranams, Rup Manjari Didi, and Rohini Dulal Prabhu, and Prajumna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranams. I started a little bit late today because my Wi-Fi wasn't working, and then I just contacted the Wi-Fi people and they got it working again. So hopefully it will all be good now. So today we'll be singing E Bhara Karuna Koro Vaishnava Gosai. Make this bigger. This is by Śrīla Narottam Das Thakur. O Vaishnav Gosai, please be merciful to me now. You are the savior of the fallen souls. Except for you, there is no one who can deliver me. Where can one find such a merciful personality by whose mere proximity one's sins go far away? Only by touching the Ganga does one become purified. But simply by seeing you, one is purified. This is your great quality. Offenses committed at the lotus feet of Sri Hari are absolved by Harinam. But offenses against you, there is absolutely no means of deliverance. Offenses against you, against the Vaishnava, there is absolutely no means for deliverance. Shri Govinda is always resting in your heart. Govinda thus says, the Vaishnavas are my life and soul. In every birth, I aspire for the dust of your lotus feet. Please be compassionate to this Narottam Das and consider me your own. How should I sing this? I'll do it the Gaur Govinda Goswami Maharaj melody. How does it go? Yeah. Hoye bara karuna karo Vaishnava Gosai E bara karuna karo Vaishnava Gosvāmī Patita Pavana Tuma Dīn ke ho Patita Pavana Tuma Dīn ke ho কাহারা নিকটে গেলে পাপ দূরে যায় কাহারা নিকটে গেলে পাপ দূরে যায় এমন দয়াল প্রভু কে বকতা পায় এমন দয়াল প্রভু কে বকতা পায় গঙ্গার পরশ হইলে পশ্চাতে গঙ্গার পরশ হইলে পশ্চাতে দর্শনে পবিত্র করো এ তোমার গুণ দর্শনে পবিত্র করো এ তোমার গুণ হরি স্থানে অপরাধে তারে হরি নাম হরি স্থানে অপরাধে তারে হরি নাম তোম স্থানে অপরাধে নাহি কোয়েডা তোম স্থানে অপরাধে নাহি কোয়েডা তোমার হৃদয়ে সদা ও গোবিন্দ বিশ্রাম তোমার হৃদয়ে সদা গোবিন্দ বিশ্রাম গোবিন্দ কোহেন মম বৈষ্ণব পরায়ণ গোবিন্দ কোহেন মম বৈষ্ণব পরায়ণ প্রতিজনে করি আশা চরণের দোলে প্রতিজনে করে আশা চরণের দোলে নরোত্তমে করো দয়া আপনার বলে নরোত্তমে করো দয়া আপনার বলে প্রতিজনে করে আশা চরণের দোলে প্রতিজনে করি আশা চরণের দোলে নরোত্তমে কর দয়া আপনার বলে tame karo daya apnar bodhi. Jai Vaishnav Thakur, Jai Vaishnav Thakur, Vaishnav Thakur, Jai Vaishnav Thakur, Jai Vaishnav Thakur, Vaishnav Thakur, Vaishnav Thakur, Jai Vaishnav Thakur. Such a beautiful kirtan, huh? Okay. Dandavat Pranam Sunanda Mataji. Hari Bol. So today we're reading about Sri Garuḍa, the divine carrier of Vishnu. I'm just going to put this mridanga down, give me a sec. All right, and I have to write an article every Akadi. Oh yeah, if anybody's not on the Gaudiya Kirtan mailing list and they would like to be, you can send me, give me your email. Send it to me in a private message actually, because I might miss it in the comments. But yeah, if you send me your email, or actually, better, you can just go to gaudiyakirtan.com and put in your email there, and then, yeah, you'll automatically be signed up. You just go to gaudiyakirtan.com, scroll down to the bottom of the page. And yeah, every Akadashi, I give an update on the Gaudiya Kirtan project, although today, I don't know what update I'm going to give. And also, I write an article, like just something related to Kirtan. I actually haven't written it yet today. I have to do that after this. I wrote like some parts of it, and I have some idea, but not very much. So this isn't going to be a long reading. I'm just going to read, and then I really need to focus on writing something, and I'll send it out on the mailing list. I was thinking today of writing about memorizing kirtans. Anyways, so okay, I'm going to begin. So, by Śrīla Bhakti Pramoda Purī Gosvāmī Mahārāja, the heart of Krishna, Sri Garuḍa, the divine carrier of Vishnu. Even a great yogi becomes lusty and falls down if he offends a Vaishnav. The consequence of offending an elevated Vaishnav is extremely grave. The story of Saubhari Rishi from the Srimad Bhagavatam illustrates this point. Saubhari Rishi was practicing severe penances for many years, sometimes levitating above the Yamuna river, and sometimes deeply submerged within it. One day, Garuḍa, the winged carrier of Vishnu, was hungry and dived into the lake in the middle of the Yamuna river. He swooped down and plucked a large fish that he thought would be ideal for his lunch. The smaller fish were frightened upon seeing their leader so easily consumed. So Saubhari Rishi felt sorry for them and cursed Garuḍa. "If you dare to come here again, you'll die." The great commentator on the Srimad Bhagavatam, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, gives his interpretation. Unfortunately, Saubhari Rishi committed 2 offenses against the great devotee Garuḍa: giving orders to a superior personality, Agya Pradhan, and exhibiting a malicious attitude, Tadishta Pratikulya. Garuḍa, on the other hand, could not be indicted for such offenses as disobeying orders, Agya Langan, and violence against others, Prani Hingsan, because of his powerful position. Saubhari committed a 3rd offense by cursing a Parshad, an associate of the Lord. He did this to protect the helpless creatures living in the lake, but his compassion was in vain, because Kaliya's venom poisoned those waters, and all the fish died anyway. Saubhari's curse was that if Garuḍa ever came to the lake to eat fish, he would die immediately. But the implication was that even if he simply came there and did not eat fish, he would still perish.
Knowing that, Garuda never ventured near the lake. Kaliya also knew about this curse and later took shelter in that lake to escape Garuda. Whoa, so Saubhari's compassion for the fish ended up being the cause of killing all the fish. He was the cause of all the fish dying. Quite the opposite of what he was. Anyways. In an attempt to show mercy to the fish, Saubhari brought upon himself the terrible consequences of aparad. It is said that the road to hell is paved with good intentions. Saubhari was then deviated from the spiritual path and began a hellish nightmare of sexual exploits, culminating in the slavery of family life. He traded the unlimited joy of soul for the fleeting pleasure of the flesh. This dragged on for years. However, because he took shelter in the waters of the Yamuna, which are spiritual and purifying, he became deeply repentant and was again able to take up his spiritual practices, which ultimately lead to liberation. The ways of the infinite are mysterious and unknowable. It so happens that while Saubhari Rishi was performing his austerities, the great king Mahārāja Yuvanashva, ancestor of Ambarish Maharaj, was trying to produce an heir. You don't pronounce it. Do you just say heir, not hair, right? You say heir, yeah. Anyhow. He tried every possible means to conceive a child through his 100 wives, but remained unsuccessful. Totally dejected, he entered the forest with his wives. The compassionate sages of the forest initiated the Indra Yajna to satisfy Indra, so that he would bless the king with a son. They performed the sacrifice with great caution. A chalice filled with water, meant to be drunk by the king's principal queens in order to fertile them, was left within the sacrificial arena. One night, the king awoke from his sleep, feeling thirsty. He found the chalice and drank its contents. Oh God. The next morning, the sages saw the empty chalice and were alarmed. When they discovered that the king had drunk the water, they understood that this could only happen by God's intervention. They offered prayers to the Lord, condoning his divine act and glorifying his mysterious ways. Yikes. In time, an exquisite son with all the marks of a powerful prince appeared from the lower right side of King Yuvanashva's abdomen. Yikes. Don't want to think about that too much. The baby cried continuously, hungering for breast milk, and the sages were in a dilemma about how to feed the baby. Just then, Lord Indra, who was worshipped in the yajna, appeared and comforted the crying baby. He offered his index finger for the baby to suck, saying, "Mam datta," you may drink me. Thus, the prince became known as Mandhata. Interesting. I guess at that time they didn't have formula, or maybe it was just too... Anyways, never mind. It's going to make a bad joke. Although the baby was born from the abdomen of King Yuvanashva, the king did not die due to the blessings of the sages. He remained in that spot and performed severe austerities, finally achieving yogic perfection. The baby grew up and ruled the world. He drew strength from Vishnu and ruled the 7 islands that comprise the earth: Jambu, Plaksha, Shalmali, Kusha, Kronsha, Shaka, and Pushkar. Powerful demons like Ravan were always feared, and hence Indra called him Trasadasyu, one who scares away rogues. I've never heard this story before. It's really cool. Emperor Mandhata gave immense charity and performed yajnas to worship Vishnu. He fathered 3 sons and 50 daughters through his wife Bindumati, the daughter of Shashabindu. The sons were Purukutsa, Ambarisha, and the great mystic Muchukunda. Meanwhile, Sobhari Muni was performing austerities under the waters of the river Yamuna. One day, his attention was diverted by a pair of fish mating. Okay, I've heard this part. The rishi's heart filled with lust. See, that's an effect of making aparad. When such a powerful rishi who can, do austerities underwater for thousands of years and levitate above Yamuna, like somebody so powerful like that. But then just by seeing to fish mating, your heart becomes filled with lust. That's an effect of Vaishnava Aparad. He came up from the riverbed and went to Mathura, where he approached to Emperor Mandata and requested the hand of one of his daughters in marriage. The emperor said that any one of them would be free to choose the sage as her husband. Sobhari Rishi thought to himself, I am old, wrinkled, and gray because of my austerities, and I'm not attractive to a young princess. I must make myself so handsome that even the heavenly damsels will dream of having me as their husband. So, by his mystic power, he transformed himself into a handsome young man. When he was escorted in by royal guards, all 50 princesses found him so irresistibly attractive that they quarreled amongst themselves, all wanting to marry him. Sobhari Rishi thus married them all, and built 50 magnificent palaces, so full of splendor that the palace of Lord Indra himself paled by comparison. The Emperor Mandata was awestruck by Sobhari Rishi's opulence. In comparison to the Rishi's royal lifestyle, he was humbled despite his own huge empire. Let me just check the connection's still going. It still is, okay. Okay, yes, H is silent, air. Okay, thanks. Especially if you've seen a mishtake, it's not appealing. Yep, that must be aparad. Okay. Although Sobhari was surrounded by fantastic luxury and enjoyment, he did not feel satisfied or at peace with himself. Just as butter fuels fire, sense gratification increases a man's lusty desires. He began to reflect, what have I done? Just by seeing fish mate, I abandoned the path of self-realization just for sex? Because of my offense to Garuḍa, I have destroyed myself. Look at me. No one should waste their time dwelling on sense objects. Save your heart and mind for constant meditation on the Supreme Lord. And if you're lonely, associate with saints who have taken complete shelter at the Lord's lotus feet. Previously, I was in meditation on Hari, but sex desire dragged me into an endless family entanglement. I married 50 wives and fathered 100 sons through each wife. Material nature corrupted my conscience to such an extent that there was no end to my desires. Sobhari Rishi passed his days in lamentation. Trying to detach himself from his family entanglement, he retired and entered the forest, followed by his devoted wives. Once again, he began to practice austerities. At the time of his death, he offered himself totally in the service of the all-pervasive Supersoul, and his wives also attained the same spiritual goal because of their devotion to him. This incident gives insight into the subtle work of the subtle workings of Vaishnava Aparad. The powerful sage Sobhari what the heck? Sorry. Oops, okay. The powerful sage Sobhari committed an offense at the feet of Garuḍa in an act of sympathy to a fish. Because of his actions, he not only indirectly orchestrated the mass extinction of every living creature in the Yamuna River, but was also the cause of harassing the exalted residents of Vrindavan, the Vrajvasis, by creating a haven for Kaliya. Thus, Sobari offended even the Vrajvasis, who were most dear to Krishna. As for his personal life, Sobari fell from the spiritual path. He degenerated into a I don't know this word, a lecherous fool for years, caught in an inescapable web of illusion. Ultimately, he regained his spiritual status. On just one point here, didn't was it Śrīla Bhakti Purī Gosvāmī? Did we read this previously? That a result of Vaishnava Parad is that you can get lots of material opulence and give up a desire, isn't it? I thought he said that. So if by our chanting and we're committing Vaishnava Parad, we might get every material opulence we want. And but what the effect of Vaishnava Parad is that we lose a desire to do bhakti, and we become complete materialists, and like that, right? So ultimately, he regained his spiritual status by the mercy of Vrindavan Dham and Yamuna Devi. But as far as relishing the nectar of Krishna Bhakti was concerned, he could not obtain it. Yeah, he was in Vrindavan. He could have, had darshan of Krishna's pastimes. But anyways, Kaliya, on the other hand, although envious and capricious, that's how you say that word, right? Yeah, although envious and capricious, was aided by the good wishes of his devoted wives, who attracted the mercy of Krishna and brought him all auspiciousness. Wow, so even if we're wicked, if we have the association of devotees, like Kaliya had the association of his devoted wives, then that attracted the mercy of Krishna and brought him all auspiciousness. It is almost impossible to be released from the consequences of Vaishnav aparad. Without feeling deep remorse, and without surrendering at the feet of the offended devotee, one can never be forgiven. Without such forgiveness, the goal of life is lost. All right. So tomorrow we will read about Shivas Pandit and the liberation of the leper. Well, this is a really good one. All right, so I will sing. I don't know, today's Ekadashi. Let's sing Shuddha Bhakata. I actually missed it today when I went to Kirtan. I came a little bit late. Shuddha Bhakata. Let me just find it. They're just now singing it in the temple room, actually. Can you hear it in the background? All right, let me just make this. Give me a second, guys. I wasn't planning on doing this beforehand, so I just need to prepare it a little bit. And after this kirtan, I'll just do a quick Mahamantra, and then I need to start writing this article. Or complete it. It's always so... It's something I need to write these articles before Ekadashi begins, but I always save it to the last minute. Now it's... Oh, okay, anyways. All right. Well, that's too big, isn't it? Okay, there. Shuddha Bhakata. Oh, wait, let me just see if there's any comments or anything. Okay. Okay. Ashoda Bhakata Charana Renu Pajanayanu Kula Shuddha Bhakata Charana Renu Pajanayanu Kula Bhakata Seva Parama Siddhi Premalate Karamola Bhakata Seva Parama Siddhi Premalate Karamola Shuddha Bhakata Charana Renu Bhajanayanu Kola Shuddha Bhakata Charana Renu Bhajanayanu Kola Madhavati Bhakta Bhakti Janani Jatane Palana Kori Madhavati Bhakti Janani Jatane Palana Kori Krishna Vasate Vasate Bole Paramaya Dare Kori Krishna Vasate Vasate Bole Paramaya Dare Kori Shuddha Bhakata Charana Renu Bhajanayanu Kula Shuddha Bhakata Charana Renu Bhajanayanu Kula Korayama Jesabastane Korala Brahmana Range Korayama Jesabastane Korala Brahmana Range Se Sabastana Heri Boyami Pranai Bhakata Sange Se Sabastana Heri Boyami Pranai Bhakata Sange Mridanga Vadya Shunite Ma Hoya Vasara Sadajache Mridanga Vadya Shunite Ma Navasara Sadajache Gauravihita Kirtana Shuni Ananda Hridaya Nache Gauravihita Kirtana Shuni Ananda Hridaya Nache Shuddha Bhakata Charana Renu Bhajanayanu Kola Shuddha Bhakata Charana Renu Bhajanayanu Kola Jugala Murti Dekhi Amor Paramayananda Hoy Jugala Murti Dekhi Amor Paramayananda Hoy Prasada Seva Karite Hoy Sakala Prapancha Jai Prasada Seva Karite Hoy Sakala Prapancha Jai Shuddha Bhakata Charana Renu Bhajanayanu Kola Shuddha Bhakata Charana Renu Bhajanayanu Kola Jedin Grihe Bhajana Dekhi Grihe Te Goloka Bhai Jedin Grihe Bhajana Dekhi Grihe Te Goloka Bhai Charana Sindhu Dekhiya Ganga Sukana Sima Pai. Charana Sindhu Dekhiya Ganga Sukana Sima Pai. Tulasi Dekhi Jurai Pran Madhava Toshani Jani. Tulasi Dekhi Jurai Pran Madhava Toshani Jani. Gaura Priya Shaka Sevane Jivana Sarthaka Mani. Gaura Priya Shaka Sevane Jivana Sarthaka Mani. Bhakti Vinod Krishna Bhajane Anukula Paija. Bhakti Vinod Krishna Bhajane Anukula Paija. Prati Divase Parama Sukhe Shikara Koroye Taha. Prati Divase Parama Sukhe Shikara Koroye Taha. Shruta Bhakata Charana Renu Pajanayanu Kola. Shruta Bhakata Charana Renu Pajanayanu Kola. Bhakata Seva Parama Siddhi Premalati Karamola. Bhakata Seva Parama Siddhi Premalati Karamola. Shuddha Bhakata Charana Renu Pajanayanu Kola. Ashuddha Bhakata Charana Renu Pajanayanu Kola. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Ram 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 Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Jaya Sachinandan Gaura Hare Sachinandan Jaya Gaura Hare Jaya Sachinandan Jaya Gaura Hare Sachinandan Jaya Gaura Hare Jaya Radha Vinod Bihari Radha Vinod Bihari Radha Jaya Radha Vinod Bihari Radha Vinod Bihari Radha Jaya Giri Raja Govardhana Giri Raja Jaya Govardhana Jaya Giri Raja Jaya Govardhana Giri Raja Jaya Govardhana Jaya Navadvipa Jaya Vrindavana Navadvipa Jaya Vrindavana Jaya Navadvipa Jaya Vrindavana Navadvipa Jaya Vrindavana Jaya Hari Vasar Jaya Ekadashi Hari Vasar Jaya Ekadashi Jaya Hari Vasar Jaya Ekadashi Hari Vasar Jaya Ekadashi Jaya Gurudeva 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 Jaya Gurudeva 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 Jaya Gurudeva Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Prabhupada Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Gaur Hari Bol Nitai Gaur Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaur Hari Nitai Gaur Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaur Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Shri Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol Jai Shri Guru Gauranga Gandharvika Giridhari Shri Radha Shri Radha Vinod Bihari Ju Ki Jai Shri Govinda Gopinath Maran Mohan Ju Ki Jai Nitil Vishnu Vishnupad Ashtatara Shatashma Chila Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Gosvāmī Mahārāja Shila Gurudev Ki Jai Nitil Vishnu Vishnupad Ashtatara Shatashma Chila Bhakti Vedanta Vaman Gosvāmī Mahārāja Ki Jai Nitil Vishnu Vishnupad Ashtatara Shatashma Chila Bhakti Vedanta Swami Mahārāja Shila Prabhupada Ki Jai Nitil Vishnu Vishnupad Ashtatara Shatashma Chila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Gosvāmī Mahārāja Ki Jai Nitil Vishnu Vishnupad Ashtatara Shatashma Chila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Gosvāmī Prabhupada Ki Jai Tadya Parshad Vrinda Ki Jai Nitil Vishnu Mahabhagavat Shila Gorksharas Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai Nitil Vishnu Shila Satchidananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur Ki Jai Nitil Vishnu Vaishnav Sarvabhauma Shila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai Shri Rupano Gauriya Guru Varga Ki Jai Nitil Vishnu Vishnupad Ashtatara Shatashmad Shila Bhakti Pramoda Purī Gosvāmī Mahārāja Ki Jai Shri Rup Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath Shri Jeev Gopal Patadas Raghunath Shara Gosvāmī Prabhu Ki Jai Shri Sarup Damodar Rai Ramanandari Shri Gaur Parshad Vrinda Ki Jai Namacharya Shila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Shri Kshetra Mandala Gaur Mandala Vraja Mandala Mathura Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Sarva Abhishya Bharata Giriraj Maharaj Ki Jai Shri Radha Kunda Shama Kund Ki Jai Shri Muna Devi Ganga Devi Ki Jai Shri Tulsi Maharani Vrinda Devi Ki Jai Shri Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Shri Purnamasi Yogamaya Ki Jai Shri Gopeshwar Mahadev Ki Jai Shri Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai Samagat Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Shri Mohini Akarashi Titi Ki Jai Mohini Akarashi Titi Palan Kari Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai Samagat Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Shri Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bo Vrindai Tulsi Devai Priyai Keshavashacha Krishna Bhakti Pradadevi Satyavatai Namo Namaha Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha
Kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha.
Dandavat pranams. All right. So, and something I think I'm going to do, I don't have any Gaudiya Kirtan update right now, but something I can do to compensate is in that email, I will share a very special song to Nrsingadev. It's from Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur's Navadvip Bhav Taranga, and it's one of the most beautiful prayers to Nrsingadev I've ever seen. It's very much in our, it's a prayer to Lord Nrsingadev, but like very much in our Rupanuga, like Raganuga line, praying for the service of Radha and Krishna. So actually, Nrsingadev, somebody was asking me, I think it was Pradyumna Prabhu here, he was asking, is it okay to worship Nrsingadev? Is that going off track? Or should we just be one pointed towards worshiping Radha and Krishna? And you can see through this song that Nrsingadev we need Nrsingadev's help to come to the service of Radha and Krishna, to come to this Raganuga Bhakti. We're very dependent on Nrsingadev's mercy and help. So I'll send out that kirtan on the Gaudiya Kirtan mailing list. I'll make that the first part of the email. And then, let's see, I'll probably be up all night tonight trying to write this article. It's always scary when I don't do it beforehand because I don't know what I'm going to write and if it's going to be good or if it's going to be a total disaster. But anyhow, let's see. You can sign up to the email on gaudiyakirtan.com. As I mentioned before, just go to gaudiyakirtan.com, go down to the bottom of the page, and you'll see a place to put in your email. Otherwise, you can go on the Gaudiya Kirtan Facebook page, and there's also a place where you can click and sign up. All right, Jai Shri Radhe, Hari Bol. Hari Bol, Cherish Jivas, Hari Bol. Jai Shri Radhe.